Subtraction does not exist. I'm trying to teach you how to do shortcut math, and the first thing I want you to realize is that subtraction is really difficult to learn. It doesn't make sense to our brain. So what I introduce to people when I teach them how to do subtraction is I teach them reverse addition. Let me give you an example. If I said to you 15 minus 6, instead of looking at that as a subtraction problem, I always look at it backwards, upside down. What plus this will give me this? Because in all subtraction problems, this number plus this number always add up to the top number. So I always look at it a little backwards. So instead of borrowing from the 1 or anything like that, I just say, okay, 15 minus 6. Well, they're saying to me, 6 plus what equals 15? And then I know 6 plus 9 is 15. Same thing if I said 24 minus 19. Now, you could do it and look at it this way, the regular subtraction way, and say, well, 20 minus 10 is 10, and oops, I got to borrow. So before you get into that, just read the problem and turn it around. So instead of saying 24 minus 19, why not say 19 plus what equals 24? And then you know right away, just 5 more. So the answer is 5. Instead of borrowing and all that stuff, if the numbers aren't that big, try to reverse the problem and do it upside down. Let me give you one more example. How about 32 minus 18? Now, a little bit farther apart. And the number here is still bigger than this number. All right? So before you get into going 32, borrow, because this 2 is too small for this, look at it this way. 18 plus what equals 32? 18 plus what equals 32? And if you're pretty good with numbers, or if you're good at adding, because we just did a whole chapter on addition, you should get the answer of 14. What I'm going to show you in subtraction, though, is how to actually go left to right doing subtraction. So open up your workbooks to the subtraction section, and let's go through that together. Let's get into left to right subtraction. Now, it's the same concept as left to right addition, except it gets a little tricky when you've got to sort of get into a borrow situation. So we'll go through it real slow and make sure you understand each step along the way. Let me give you some examples. The first thing I'm going to do is some basic subtraction left to right without any borrowing. Let's try 26 minus 14. This is a whole different way of looking at subtraction because you're using the whole number instead of just learning how to subtract digits and borrow. This will teach you how to look at the whole problem. 26 minus 14. Let's start over here. That obviously is 20, and this is 10. So what's 20 minus 10? 10. And then you go to the right column. What's 6 minus 4? 2. So the answer is 12. 10 and 2 is 12. Let's try another one. 38 minus 27. Starting on the left, what's 30 minus 20? 10. And then what's 8 minus 7? 1. So we have 10 and 1, or 11. You always keep the running total in your head, again, but you just do it one step at a time and make sure you understand the whole problem. Don't try to just read it one line at a time. Understand you're doing the whole problem at the same time in your head. Let's try one more. What's 45 minus 33? Now, starting on the left, what's 40 minus 30? Once again, we get 10. And then 5 minus 3 is 2 to give us an answer of 12. Pretty simple. The best thing about going left to right, though, in subtraction is that right away you knew the answer was going to be about 10 or 15 maybe, but you knew right away what it was about to be. Doing it the other way, you just know that it ends in a 2, but you have no idea what's over here. So once again, estimation skills will increase using this technique. Now let's try some with a little bit of a borrowing situation. In this case, let's do 26 minus 17. Pretty big problem. 26 minus 17. To start, you're going to go left to right. What's 20 minus 10? You've got 10, right? Now, here's where it gets tricky. As soon as you see that this number is bigger or smaller than this number, All right? This is smaller than this number. Whenever the smaller number is on top, that means you have to borrow normally. But what you're going to do is just say, okay, well, I've got a 10 from here, right? So add it to this. Instead of having a 6, you've got 16 minus 7. What's 16 minus 7? You should get 9, and that's the answer. Let me go through another one and try it again. How about 34 minus, oh, I want to make it tough, 19. Okay, just to show you how this works, 30 minus 10 is how much? You should get 20. Now, so we've got a 20. We've got to keep that in our head, the running total, base number. We've got 20. Now come up here. You see that this number is smaller than this number, so there's a borrowing situation normally. So we've got 20 over here, right? Just add it to the top number. What's 20 plus 4? You should get 24. And now we just minus this 9. So what's 24 minus 9? The answer is 15. Now, if you have problems subtracting 24 minus 9, there's an easier way to do it. I'm going to just do a little note up here. 24 minus 9, if you get to that situation. If you have trouble with that, make this 9 a 10. It's much easier to subtract, and then just add 1 when you're over. What's 24 minus 10? Well, for a lot of people, that's easier, and you'll get 14. And then just add the 1 that you added to that originally, and you'll end up with the same answer of 15. So always try to figure out which way makes it easier for you to get the right answer. Let's try one more. How about 42 minus 28? All right, starting on the left, what's 40 minus 20? You should get 20, right? That's your running base total number, 20. Now we see that we have to borrow, so just add that to the top. What's 20 plus 2? 22. And now we just minus the 8. What's 22 minus 8? 22 minus 8 will give you 14. So as you can see, all you're going to do when you do left to right subtraction is keep a running total in your head and just add it to the number if there's a borrowing situation that occurs. Go back into your workbook, try the examples that we've got in the workbook, go through it, take your time, make sure that you understand this process before you go any farther, because borrowing is really a unique situation, and when you have to do it, if you can go left to right and just keep that running total in your head, you'll have an estimated idea of the answer much easier in your head, and you'll be able to get to the answer much quicker and faster. Give it a try and come right back after you're done. Okay, how'd you do in the workbook section of the two-digit subtraction? I hope you did great. It's a little tricky, but once you get used to it, it's very easy, and you can use it in any situation. If you're still having trouble, please go back and review the second part of this video and the exercises again in the workbook before you go into this part. What I'm going to do now is some three-digit subtraction without borrowing, and then we're going to try one with and see how you do with this. Once you get into three-digit numbers, though, it's a little bit more work to remember the base number you're working with, so you got to practice that a little bit. All right, let's try some easy stuff first. How about 152 minus 149? Now, you can see easily that they're almost the same. I just want to go through it left to right, though, to make sure you understand what we're doing. What's 100 minus 100? Nothing left. There's a 0 there, so you forget all about the hundreds now. What's 50 minus 40? 50 minus 40 should give you 10. So now you got a 10 going on. Here's where you look. There's a little borrowing here. This number's smaller than this. So you've got a 10 going. Let's bring it up to the 2. What's 10 and 2? 12. And now subtract that 9. What's 12 minus 9? 3 is the right answer. So the answer to this is 3. But I just wanted to show you how to keep it going left to right and keep the base numbers. All right, let's try another one. 145 minus 132. Starting on the left, what's 100 minus 100? 0. What's 40 minus 30? 10 is the answer to that. So now we've got a 10 going again. And now look at this. This number is bigger than this number, so you can go ahead and write that down. And what's 5 minus 2? You should get 3. So the answer to 145 minus 132 is 13. All right, let's try one more left to right. How about 256 minus 152. All right, let's go over to the hundreds. What's 200 minus 100? You should get an answer of 100. And now come over here. What's 50 minus 50? 0. So all you've got left so far is the 100 that we had. So let's go to the ones. What's 6 minus 2? The answer is 4. So the total answer would be 104. And this is the cool part about subtraction, is do it reverse, and you'll see how easy it is to add. Remember how we add left to right? Go upside down adding. What's 100 and 100? 200. What's 0 plus 5? 5. And what's 4 plus 2? 6. Always works. If you get the right answer here, you should be able to go backwards and get the same answer up on the top. Now, let me try one more with you that's going to bring you a little bit of borrowing, but I want you to go through it slow because we're going to do a bunch of it. Let's do a 356 minus 249. Now, let's start on the left. What's 300 minus 200? We have 100 going. That's our base number. What's 50 minus 40? You should get 10. So now we've got 110 so far. But here we go. This is smaller than this. So let's bring that 110 into the picture. Add it to the 6. So now you have 116 minus the 9. And if you got a minus 9, it's easier to minus 10 and add 1. So what's 116 minus 9? We'll do the 116 minus 10, and you get 106. And then add the 1 back, and you'll get 107. So let's look at it the other way. 100 and 200 is 300. 0 and 4 is not 5, but you can see here that you're going to carry 1. So what's 7 and 9? 16. There's your 6, and you're carrying the 1. So now this is 1, and 4 is 5. So it'll add up backwards, but when you carry, when you have to borrow going left to right, just remember to keep that base number in your head and then add it whenever you need to the number, as long as it's smaller than the number on the bottom. Try one more. 423 minus 369. All right, let's give it a shot. What's 400 minus 300? You get 100. Now, look at this. This is smaller than this, 20 and 60. So this one's smaller, so we've got to bring that 100 in. So now 120 minus 60 is how much? 120 minus 60 will give you 60. Now we go to the next column. Look at this. Here we go again. This is smaller than this. But we've got 60 going, right? So what's 60 plus 3? 63. Minus the 9. Remember to minus 10, add 1. What's 63 minus 10? Just go down to 53, and then add the 1 back, and you'll get 54. And if you do the reverse adding, you'll see that you'll get the right answer again. So now go into your workbooks and work on 3-digit subtraction and get used to adding that base number whenever you have to carry or borrow, and see how you do with that. Take your time. Make sure you understand it before you go on to the next section. Have a lot of fun. All right, now before we move on to the next chapter, let's review a little bit about what we learned in the addition chapter, just to make sure we've got that technique in our head, okay? I'm going to give you a couple of examples to try. First off, let's do 245 plus 124. Remember, we started on the left. We did 200 plus 100, and that gives us 300. And then we go to the next column. That 4 is 4 tens, or 40. So what's 300 plus 40? 340. Add 20 more to that. You should get 360. And then the next column, 360 plus 5 is 365. And add 4 more, and that'll give us an answer of 369. All right, now let's try another one, but just a little bit bigger with a few more numbers in it. How about 215, 134, and 325? Same concept, left to right, just a few more numbers to put in that base number as we go down the columns. Starting at 200 and adding 100, you would get 300. Add 300 more, and you'll have 600. Now we go to the tens column. So that's 10 right there. What's 600 plus 10? 610. Add 30 more, and we'll get 640. And then add 20 to that. So what's 640 plus 20? You should get 660. And now we're going to go to the ones. What's 660 plus 5? 665. Add the 4, and we'll get 669. And then add 5 more, and you'll get 674. Now, just a little tip that hopefully you'll be able to use and learn on your own as you get through this program. If you remember 200, 300, 600, 610, 640, 660. Now, look over at the ones columns. We're at 660, right? Isn't 5 and 5 10? So instead of going 660, 665, like that, 660, notice groupings of 10s and add them right to the base number. So instead of the way we did it, you could go 660, 670, 674. Same answer, just a little bit quicker, and you'll find yourself doing that as you progress and practice this more and more. Let's try one more. How about 453, 217, 321, and 218? All right, starting left to right. 400 plus 200 will give us 600. Add 300 more, and we get 900. Add 200 more. What's 900 plus 200? You should get 1,100, 1,100. So now we've got a big number in our head, 1,100. Let's go up to the next column. That's a 50. What's 1,100 plus 50? 1,150. 10 more is 1,160. 20 more is 1,180. And 10 more is 1,190. And then we go to the next column. Look at this. Here's a 10. What's 1,190 plus 10? Some people are going to say 2,000 right away, but it's actually 1,200. 1,190 plus 10 is 1,200, okay? And then we come down here. What's 1,200 plus 1 is 1,201, plus 8 more is 1,209. The answer is 1,209. So now, go back through the workbook and review addition and subtraction. Make sure you understand them and are really confident, because coming up next, multiplication.